That's easy. That's an easy example to explain. It was timing. It was timing. MTV had just started, really gotten off the ground. They're showing MTV videos to music all the time. Very popular. People just sit and watch the videos. I mean, you know, one band after another, whatever. Jerry Jarrett was a guy that ran that territory. He was a creative guy. He wanted to revamp the old Fargo brothers, the Fabulous Fargos. And he was looking for somebody to do it with. Well, Stan Lane and I just kind of fit that bill. Both from Florida. Both looked a little bit different than the Tennessee guys. So, and we looked a lot like each other. So he just started playing around with the idea of doing vignettes, doing them to music and stuff like that. We did some ZZ Top. We did some Michael Jackson, whatever was popular. We did something that either was close to what they did or something that was just way off the chart. It was kind of risky. It's almost like introducing male strippers for the first time. You're not going, well, wait a minute, I don't know if I like these guys. But they gave us Jackie Fargo, and that was the key thing. They gave us a guy that was a legend there. He was over like a Dusty Rhodes of Florida, and no matter what he said, everybody loved. And he put his seal on us and said, these are my boys. They do what I tell them to do. When they do stuff out here, that's because I'm telling them to do that. And that's kind of what made the people like us. And then instead of just going on television and beating two guys that had no name, or really wasn't that talented, and it wasn't a good match, but you got over, we're showing videos. We're showing videos of us in limousines or motorcycles or something like that. And, you know, people saw it as a different approach. Is, oh, wow, these guys are different. Let's go see them. And that's kind of what sparked the whole thing. And then it became very much imitated. I mean, and that's the first form of flattery, is when people start wanting to do the same thing you're doing, go, this must be working. I remember when we went to the AWA from Jarrett, all he said was videos. Vern asked me in the dressing room, first thing he walks up to me, he goes, I don't know what it is. Are you guys heels or are you guys baby faces? At him and said, what do you want? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I work for you. I'm anything you want me to be. Right. Well, I learned never to close that door. You know, sometimes guys say, are you a baby face? Oh, I'm only a baby face. It's like, goodbye. I always said, I'm anything you want me to be because I work for you. So we started out with the Road Warriors. And it was a nightmare because they were supposed to be the heels, but they were over from Chicago and places we went. And it was a struggle, but it worked out in the long run. I mean, it made it very, very controversial. So, you know, Tennessee was a great education, though, because they seen it all there. And once you could do some stuff there, you could go take that anywhere.
That's definitely true. And you and Stan were a great combination, great chemistry. How did they put you two together?
Actually, it was just Jerry Jarrett came up with the idea, and he approached both of us. Actually, Stan was a heel. I was working against him at the time, and so in small towns and stuff. But, you know, he says, I'm looking at you guys, and you guys look a lot alike. And I was thinking maybe not twins, but like a real tag team, almost like brothers, but not brothers. So, I mean, it was really Jerry Jarrett creation. Anybody else that takes credit for it's not telling the truth because he's the one that owned the territory. He's the one that put it together. He's the one that promoted it. He's the one that pushed it. He's the one that made it happen. We just did the characters, and I mean, you know, we were very fortunate that we blended so good, and there was an obvious. I mean, you know, I've had some incredible tag team partners, and I mean, you know, probably 70% of my career has been in tag matches with guys from everywhere, and some of the greatest talent in the world. I mean, you know, when you look back, you go, I wasn't great. I just worked with great guys. Good thing too, because they made me look good.
I'm sure a lot of guys are probably saying that about you too. So it's a good, it's a good mix.
Well, there's probably a lot more telling stories about things I did to him in the ring, like calling things and not doing it just to laugh and stuff. But Ted DiBiase can tell a great story about me because we had a match and I called this really long high. Started off with one tackle, dropped flat, and then it went on to a real elaborate thing. It made me call it again. And when we did one tackle, he dropped flat. I just dropped like flat on his back and said, "Get out of this." And now he's all confused because he'd had all of this to do in his mind, and it all stopped right away with me sitting on his back. It was just a big joke to begin with, but it just kept the humor, and I had a lot to do with humor.
Oh, yeah. And, speaking of humor in a somewhat way, you mentioned the Moondogs before. Did you have a lot of fun wrestling those crazy guys down there in Memphis?
No. That was a fight for your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a thing about being over, and we were climbing a ladder. We were making an establishment, and theirs was a trip through. And the same was with the sheep herders. Now, the sheep herders were a lot better. It was Luke and Jonathan Boyd back then because they understood coming through a territory. I mean, coming through, as you came through for a certain period of time, you got over, got pushed. Then you made it to these guys, and then these guys had battles with you back and forth. Then you went through various types of matches, even like managers up in cages and Jimmy Hart tied to a pole, whatever it was. But the idea was is that inevitably you're going to move on, and they're going to stay here. And so sometimes they didn't see it that way. Sometimes they saw, well, if we go out there and do this, maybe it'll work out. And sometimes it's a struggle out there. I mean, I think we invented hardcore wrestling during that era because I saw it later on with students, like Mike Awesome was my student that taught him, and ECW, and I'm going, we invented that in Tennessee a long time ago. Anyway.
There's a lot of truth to that because when Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously was down there in Tennessee, that he took a lot of aspects, and you could tell, also from Florida too, but you could tell he was taking little bits from here and there and kind of, like you said, putting it into ECW.
Absolutely. And it was something different. And, people want to see different things sometimes.